Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Bitcoin Business Basics. And today we are going to talk to a gentleman. I will just say this: he is absolutely incredible. He inspires me. He is a mentor in my space, even though I don't speak to him as often as I would like. But ever since I saw him and came on the scene to watch what he's been doing in this community, I, along with my staff, felt like he would be the perfect person for Black Futures Month and Black History Month, whatever you want to call it. But this person, and as you see, he has on this shirt that says, I love Black people. He is unapologetically about his folks, and he is unapologetically in this space making things happen. He was one of the individuals that, I actually modeled my tour after because he was going to the HBCUs and making it happen with our community and for our community, and has been very instrumental in a lot of our learning experiences, whether he knows it or not. He has been that. And so he's in the airport traveling today, and I am in a hotel traveling. And so we are really proud to be here today for the people, for the purpose, for the love of our community. And so, without further ado, Mr. Sinclair Skinner, how are you?
Oh, Sister Najah, thank you. And to be candid, you're my mentor and you are my inspiration too. If I had your energy, I might be doing some more. And I think, what I learned from doing a tour was I don't think I'm gonna do a tour. No, I think what I learned is, that's why I can respect the work you're doing because anytime you try to attempt these things, when you see folks do it better and with a level of energy that even in your best day that you didn't do, it just really makes you appreciate it. And then I think what it also does is allow when you see someone doing so well at things, and you go and do something else. Like so, praise God that you do a great job in educating our people. I think you have the patience for it. You have the voice for it. You have the ability to explain complex things simple is very sophisticated. I just through a lot of frustrations. There's a lot of things. I'm not gonna, make any. I don't do excuses well either. But I love the fact that you've been dedicated to educating our people on tour, off tour, in the hotel room, in the elevator, on the street corner, in a parking lot, in a playground. Like you, that that was never me. So I'm so glad that is you. So thank you for
Well,
being here today.
thank you, and really, to be quite honest, I've had tons of friends, not specifically in the Bitcoin space, but in life in general, that had been talking to me about Africa and really bridging the gap between us here in America and in the African continent. And it really wasn't until I started tuning in on some Saturdays in your I Love Black People that I really started to pay attention, quite honestly, to what was really happening on the continent and why it was so incredibly important that we get there and make that connection. And so, um, there's a lot of things that I love to talk to you about, but just for the sake of time, tell
Sure.
us why you are so passionate about um, Black folks really understanding what's happening on the continent and us really taking a push forward with our businesses, with our families, to get there and eventually reside there. In my opinion, I think that's what the push is, or I hope
No,
so.
huh? Yeah, humbly. I think we've not been cursed to live in North America. Our ancestors didn't fight and struggle, so we'd be cursed to live in one place. I tell people we can live everywhere. We have as black people, we have what they call primacy. We're the first civilized people. So we're the first to travel the world. We instead of colonizing, we were more internationalists. We went to different places in the world. We lived among different people. We exchanged among different people, but we respected the people that we actually engaged. We didn't try to harm them and colonize them, and that's why the footprint is a very different one. When you go to Asia and you see black folks in Melanesia, or you go to parts of the Americas, of course there were black folks here before transatlantic slavery, because black folks were the first people to circumnavigate the world. With that being said, though, it's not like some black supremacy weird thing. It's just a context of telling the history, like we're talking about Black History Month, or the future. It's going to be hard to, they say history is the thing, and this is, I think, John Henry Clark. He said, history is like a way of letting you know where you've been and where you've yet to go. So even when we talk about Black futures from the context of history, history is that compass. History is that thing, that guide that helps us understand where we've been and where we still have yet to go. And we've been, literally all over the world. We built pyramids, and these folks still can't build them. We are the first to innovate. We created science. We created language. We created math. Not because of anything that God made us special, but we were first. So we were able to have the time to develop these things and share and spread it all over the humankind. That being said, I'm an engineer by profession, so uh, I'm not the best to talk about organizing or working with black folks as a pastor might, or a lawyer might, or even like a banker, financier. I'm an engineer. So we looked at blockchain as this one tool to better connect black folks globally. So we started BitMari, and Mari means money, and Shona, my co-founder, Chris Mapindera, who's from Zimbabwe. We both went to Howard University, historically black college, and we were really looking at a way to leverage blockchain for remittances. So we were the first blockchain company to explicitly, and this is black, white, or green, to explicitly get a remittance license to use Bitcoin to remit cash. So all the companies that came out before us never had a remittance license from a reserve bank to actually do transactions. Oftentimes, they did transactions kind of under the radar, which is still fine. But we literally did the transactions with a license from a reserve bank, and this was back in 2017. And then we came out with a very unsophisticated wallet that we still have today, with not many frills and thrills that we still have today for Bitcoin. And the reason why, and we decided to keep it, uh, there was a coup in Zimbabwe, the government changed. They then called the license into review, and our remittance license has been under review for about 3 years. So this is one of the problems. They call it, you need to have regulatory arbitrage. You need to have more than one regulatory agency or system that you're working with, because if something happens and the government wakes up one day and says, no, 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 you can literally have a problem with your business model. And we had started the our wallet back in like 2015, just as a way, as we were working towards remittances, to get the community just to learn how to use crypto, hold it. And we partnered with a company called Uphold as our exchange partner. And they also helped us once we got the remittances. And then what happened was that we realized all this, conversation about underbanked and how do we leverage this technology. And the biggest thing, and I think you do it quite well, is not the tech. I mean, this is my conclusion. I'm not going to say you said it, but the biggest thing is community. I oftentimes hear people say, "Well, if we got all the black folks in the world to do," I probably, if I had all the black folks in the world to do one thing, it probably wouldn't be buy Bitcoin. But when we say it, we almost take it for granted. Like, if you could organize all black folks, like, that's That's hella hard. like, like that would be like that's and therein lied our issue. Like we made a mistake in not pushing advertising, getting people involved. So once we got the license and were remitted, we didn't have the community built out. And then two, what we realized when you focus on the tech, the type of black, white, green, whatever type of people, and I don't mean to say green, all the shades of brown, all the different types of folks, you know, the techie type can be some very fickle, sometimey, funny style folks. One day they're into Bitcoin, one day they're into Litecoin, one day they're into Dogcoin, one day they're into Boo Boo Coin, or one day they're into AR, other day they're into AI, other day they're in VR. So they weren't very stable or consistent. And then when we were showing people that we could save them money, one of the things were remittances in Africa had the highest remittance prices in the world. It wasn't because of technology; it was because of a predatory white supremacist business model where they had like a duopoly between MoneyGram as well as Western Union. And what we did was we were able to save the bank clients money and actually give double the fees that the remittance fees they were able to receive. Let me say it another way. Typically, let's say when people sending money to Mexico from California, the fees are relatively cheap. Okay, 3%. Some of the fees in Africa could be as much as 20%. So if
Wow.
they're charging 3%, like Western Union, they would literally keep 2% for Western Union, and then whoever in Mexico is paying out the pesos gets 1%. That bank or that financial service company. Well, in Africa, what they were doing, they were charging people, let's say from Zimbabwe to South Africa, which share a common border just like Mexico and United States. They would charge something like 18%. And
Wow.
Western Union would get 17% and give the local bank 1%. Well, we dropped the bank fees down to like four. I mean, the remittance fees down to like 4%, and gave doubled the percentage that the bank got. They got 2%. The customer went from paying 18% for a charge down to 4, and we got 2%. So
Right.
when we started focusing on making money, the unfortunate thing as early adopters, anybody in the whole like lean startup methodology, those early adopters were a lot of scammers. We had a lot of folks, we had referral fees and all these little neat things. The only type of people we kind of attracted was the get rich quick crowd. And they
Yep.
some suckers. They some suckers. They horrible. They complain. And you know me, and I'll start to ramble. So I heard I would be talking about
No, you're
black folks
good.
that
You're good
yeah,
because we need to
I
hear
be
this.
yeah, we be talking about black folks getting together and how we should be and white supremacy and colonization. Man, them folks was looking for their referral code, their multi-level marketing code. They didn't want to hear all that. And I'm in Africa, you know, I'm pro-black. And the brothers and sisters like, look, man, cut the check, fool. I don't want to hear all that. Or they would get to the end. We would get to the end of the seminar, and they'd be like, look, dude, all that black stuff, cool, but where's the money at? Like, when I'm going to get? Just tell me what my downline is, and how much I'm going to get for bringing this person. I mean, it was the most unsatisfying. It was kind of, you go all the way to Africa, and motherfucker like, look, man, I want to hear all that black stuff. Cut the check. I get it. Folks want to get paid, but it was crazy. So when we started looking at better models after the coup, and just imagine running a startup and literally when we were doing what we called the tour that you referred to, we called it the first transatlantic bus tour because we
Okay.
literally started it off with HBCUs in the States and then went over to Africa and continued the tour at those black universities in Africa. So we call it a transatlantic bus tour, like a reverse, transatlantic slave
Right.
trade. We're going
Right.
from from the States back to Africa, and literally there's a coup. When I say coup, that means there's like military in the street everything is shut down and martial law. I don't know. So we're literally martial law means there's tanks in the road, soldiers
Wow.
stopping cars. Dude, that was our launch. I'm just trying to
Wow.
November. I mean, that was in November of 2017. The launch was in a coup, yeah. So it was literally problem. And I still remember we had invited Sister Simone Sanders. I don't know. Simone Sanders was our moderator for our first Black Blockchain Summit. Of course, this is before she worked for Kamala Harris. But we had invited her, and we were like, trying to negotiate and get her to come. But she kept saying, "Hey, I keep hearing there's some problems down there." And you know how this stuff is. We had planned this tour. You know how tours you plan them months in advance. I wasn't gonna let no coup stop us. Okay, it did stop us. The coup did stop us. It was very problematic. But with all that being said, we realized after we had to pivot that we wanted to still address the injustices that were being used to harm our people, and we saw the importance of how community was, and so instead of talking about the tech and the blockchain, we focused on the community. We focused on us, and we leveraged and used the methodology from the original Green Book from Victor Green, where they actually created a guide to protect Black folks from Jim Crow American apartheid from 1930s and 1960s by crowdsourcing Black owned and Black friendly businesses. And a lot of people thought it was just Black businesses. That's not true. Most of the businesses actually, many times, were white, non Black owned. Because the issue wasn't turning the Black dollar over, it was making sure you didn't get harmed or humiliated so you could use your own Black dollar anywhere you chose. And that
Yes.
was a problem, especially in those days. It still is today, shopping while Black. So what we realized is if we built a community that we could actually have that was connected, not just because they were Black, but because they were interested in protecting Black people, that would be a great foundation. So, what I love Black people, the focus is like the classes. We just came out with a new edition, our third edition of the Global Green Book, a physical book, with a little snapshot in some of the businesses that we have on the online platform. We're about to launch another app where it's a I Love Black People safe spaces, where we're asking our members to identify Black friendly places. So when you walk into a business, you'll get a push notification asking you, is this place Black friendly or not? So that information can be used to build out a great little safety net to protect us. And then quietly, you were talking about some of these sponsors. We've been working on a sponsor. We haven't got it like locked down. But once we, of course, I'll tell you off camera. But for this, we're gonna do. Hopefully by next week we'll have a lockdown. We'll announce that, and really our focus is going to be over the next 18 months is building that safety network of these identified safe spaces by having folks use the app basically as a tool to recommend those spaces. So when you walk in a space, you got the app on, it'll ask you, is this place Black friendly? And you can say yes. And if it is, all those contacts build out, and we're leveraging, people in all countries and all cities to do that. And this is the information we already have. Black folks already Black folks already informally share with each other, places to go that were treated well. We're just taking that information, our beautiful Black brains, and leveraging it so that other folks can share it and use it. Like when you're doing your tour, you have this, and you'll be able to refer your experiences in a real easy way. Instead of you having to take time to try to jot something down, as soon as the little pop up comes, you just say yes or push deny and keep on moving. And literally, as y'all are doing your tour, you can help us map out the world of
Map it
friendly
out.
spaces. Yeah,
Well,
and
that's
then the
awesome.
and then the blockchain part of it is So ultimately, we were one of the first startups to do a Lightning node remittance transaction from
Just about to
Nigeria
ask
to,
about
yeah, from Nigeria to Zimbabwe. We did that in like March of 2018. So what we ultimately see is that all these spaces, connecting them ultimately in a payment platform, which is our background with remittances, where not only you can identify and know what place to go so you don't have to be shopping while black, so we can support those businesses that treat us correctly, but also if you decide to purchase something from there, uh, ultimately you'll be able to leverage the blockchain technology and Lightning to do that. So we see that as probably the first layer of application. We still have like I said, the basic wallet. But let me just say this, and I've said this to other folks. I think with platforms like this, the ability to collaborate and work with all wallets, just something like the Black Wall Street wallet, or even tokens. I'm a Bitcoin person, but even like sister with Guapcoin, there would never be a platform I would have that would deny Black folks who have built a product and figure out a way how their product could be interoperable with what we're
yes,
doing. I think it's too much to do to not be collaborative and build something that leverages the brains of all of us. So
yes,
I think that was the thing. And then ultimately we got 8 categories. The original Green Book was place to eat, place to sleep, transportation. We've expanded into healthcare, childcare, legal, beauty, and finance. So we got 8 categories, and ultimately we can use the blockchain as we connect all these healthcare facilities or all these childcare and education facilities. We literally all over the world we could create our own virtual or remote learning homeschooling networks, and even that could use blockchain to capture the information and retain it for students as well as the educators in the space. We could even come up with the healthcare. We could come up with our own global network of healthcare providers. I just came back from Cuba, doing some journalism for our radio show on Sirius XM. I love Black people, and thank you, Najah, for coming on there for some interviews. Um, and Cuban doctors, they just passed 100,000 Cuban doctors mark, and they have about 35,000 doctors all over the world from this little island of Cuba. But the biggest problem they have is the blockade. Now, of course, they could use Bitcoin for it, but the U.S. government has been 60 years of trying to destroy their country, and they responded by educating doctors, and they even have
yep,
a vaccine for diabetes. They literally have a way to prevent no, I say black because my focus, but they even have a treatment, a vaccine to prevent people from getting their limbs cut off when they have diabetes. But
mm,
because of the blockade, they're not even allowed to exchange that information with doctors in the U.S. And we know we're disproportionately the ones that have diabetes. So the
yes,
U.S. government blocking that hurts us disproportionately to anybody else. So
yeah,
I think these international relationships with Black folks and people of goodwill all over the world, but still focused on our problems, could give us this wonderful network so that no matter where we are in the world as Black folks, we can live fearlessly and be unafraid of people trying to hurt us through Afrophobia, xenophobia, or racial profiling.
yes, sir. Well, I definitely appreciate that and all the information that you're sharing. I want to set the record straight because I have been and probably have heard so many times in error, and just for the sake of not correcting folks while they're talking, I want to set the record straight that you are actually one of the first Black wallets that was out there. Am I correct?
No, no, no,
No.
no, no. I think Lamar had the fever wallet before we had a wallet, and
Okay.
let me just say this. Y'all are the first ones to have a wallet as amazing as that. Ours was just a very functional, basic application, just trying to get people to, like I told you, to introduce them to learn how to use it, because our focus was remittances. So
Okay.
let me just say this. And this is the thing with this black first, black. Uh, anybody who's first is first. Like you can be first, third, the third first. Like whatever makes it so that
No,
we. No,
no,
no, I'm not
no,
saying.
no.
No, no, I'm not saying it like that. Let me say it though, because that wasn't helpful. I'm saying this thing is so like we're standing on the shoulders and we're holding each other's hands. So I don't think. There's been people who had conferences before we did, and I'll be on somewhere. We're the first. No, there's probably about three or four black
Listen,
folks who said, "Look,
we gotta give credit where credit is due. And so I want to be politically correct because it's been brought up several times in different places that I've spoken, not me spoken, but people have asked the question, like who was and had the real first wallet? So you just answered my
Lamar,
question. Lamar had the fever
Lamar
wallet,
first one. Yeah,
and then
that's
you
first one.
came with your wallet as well. Right. Okay. And no, I just wanted to get that clarification. So no,
But let's see. No, but let's be clear too. People were making black people as well as other folks. One of the early things you could do once you read the white paper is go and make your wallet. Like literally,
okay.
there were, and again, those wallets were nothing. Like they even say they were wallets and talk about what y'all are doing. Ain't the same thing. It's almost like who made the first car. Like if the car I got was like two bicycle wheels and my brother pushing it. Hey, it was a car. It had wheels, but it was my brother pushing it. I don't know if that counts as a car, but literally, it was four wheels and a seat, and my brother pushing it. Is that a car? Yes. Is that what y'all are
Yes.
doing? No.
No.
It's definitely like
I
a
get it.
more
I get it.
sophisticated.
I
And
get it.
I'm just trying to say is it's not a knock on me having my brother push me with these bicycle wheels, And you say you had the first wallet. I'm just saying all of these
Well,
things are building blocks, and I'm just saying we what's amazing about us, and I think some of the things like even with the black Bitcoin billionaires and Isaiah, like all the fact that we, and let me just say this, I don't do the Bitcoin blockchain community because much of that energy is problematic for me. Like I have rage, I have issues. Like I literally, I just my, I was, because I curse, right? So like when I'm with you or if I'm doing something, I don't curse because I don't want to trigger anybody. But I curse, I have rage, and I'm coping with that. Like I literally, the trauma of this space, who we are, is problematic, and I don't want to trigger your day. Like just because I got rage, I don't want to mess. I don't know what you went through today. So it's right.
you
So
know what?
literally, so when I'm
Absolutely
around,
love it when you come
right.
to the stage with your rage
No,
because you are you, and it is I absolutely love it. I have to just tell you, I'm sitting, I know you can't see me on Clubhouse, but when you get on one, I'm just sitting back smiling because nobody else can do it like Sinclair Skinner, and nobody
no,
says and keeps it real like Sinclair Skinner,
no, no,
and I
no,
absolutely love it.
and I'm just saying that keeping it real. So what I did with one situation, when I wanted to curse, I put the phone on mute and cursed so they couldn't hear me. But guess who heard me? My wife. My wife don't need no trauma either. So what we decided to do, and just was in the past week or two, when I have that energy, instead of cursing, because I'll do the F, the S, I do them all. I'll rhyme them. I do that kind of cursing like my dad used to do. I will pray. That energy is still there, so I can't deny it. So I'm not one of those people. Well, I don't get upset. Now listen, I got upset, and I want to take that energy and say whatever prayer comes to mind, so that I can refocus and recenter that energy in a constructive space. When I used to go to these conferences, And I used to, and my partner with the Black Blockchain Summit, John Karanja, I met him. It was back in like 2013. It was like 13 to 14, early 14 or early 14. We were in Amsterdam, and at this conference, it had to be like five black folks. It was me, Sister Ala Kanani from uh, 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 um, Gaborone. She's from Botswana, and John Karanja from Nairobi, Kenya. And then there was two other folks, and they were serving tea. So it was people serving tea that looked like us, and the three of us. And it was cool early on, even with the racism that these white folks had. They were so crazy acting that the racism and prejudice was so small compared to how crazy and thought provoking they were. Now I see less thought provoking, and their racism is much louder. Their sense of entitlement as white men is much louder. It's just 3.0 of the same swing low, sweet cherry. And I'm not built that way. Like, it's not, I'm not here to suffer that. You can't cast your pearls with no swine. So I'm very careful with my pearls. And I'm definitely like, don't suffer these fools. And I'm not here to teach nobody's grown people that being racist and a no good bastard is bad. If you don't know that by the time you're 20, I'm not somebody you should know how his voice sounds like in real life. You should know me. If you still having problems like that, you're not supposed to know me, and I'm not supposed to talk to you. And so when I go to these blockchain events, and you got folks who have Christopher Columbus discovered America, and the Industrial Revolution was white folks, finally catching up with the rest of the world. Like, they got such a distorted cuckoo bird reality that it overshadows sometimes the technology to the point where it's almost perverted. And I still remember we had this guy, Bitcoin Jesus. What's his name? I forget his name. So there was some toxic. I don't know if you remember. They were talking about Segwit. This is before Segwit was coming out, and they were trying to do Bitcoin Cash and talking about redirecting and block sizes, and
Mhm.
how fast you could create the blocks as opposed to you know blocks getting bigger where you couldn't really have somebody
Roger
actually.
Ver.
Roger
Roger Ver.
Ver. Yeah, thank you,
Yeah.
said. And see, those folks were toxic, but it was almost silly. You could almost laugh because you knew who Europeans were. We know white folks, but it just got worse in a funny way, not funny, in a weirder, darker way. So when I see Lamar, I see yourself and other folks at these events, I think y'all are amazing. But what I do now is travel with my wife. I got a staff that's amazing. And I just try to live in community that if I was to die tonight, I was talking to folks that I was supposed to talk to. If I die tonight, I might die tonight. Who knows? I was talking to you now. It was all good. Like, they might, none of us getting out here alive, but I'm not going to be arguing with
Right.
some racist idiot about Santa Claus not being real. Like, Santa Claus is not real. Jesus is not white. Like, I'm not having that. Like, that's too ridiculous to me. So I just, again, we created a community not based on you had to be black, but we definitely, I'm clear you got to be anti-racist. Like, if you
And
can't like admit that this place is being operated through a white supremacist ideology and that it offends you also, I don't know if that's not the space I want to be in. I want to be with people who are going to make sure my future children, my mama, and everybody else is treated well. And if you're not, I don't care if you're talking about Bitcoin or bologna sandwiches. I'm not hearing it.
yeah. And we totally get that. And I think, we've definitely watched you and sought good counsel in your actions. It's like, seriously. And so, one of the last interactions, and I'm gonna let you go because I know you're traveling, but one of the last interactions that I had, where you came to mind immediately, somebody sent me a message in the back channel and said to me, and I've heard you say that before, don't argue, don't cast your pearls among swine. And they literally back channeled me and said, Sinclair would say to you today, do not argue with people that Harriet Tubman would have shot. I said, all right, that's it. And then somebody else sent a shirt that said exactly that. And so I said, you know what? Absolutely correct. I'm gonna definitely follow suit and not put my focus there because they don't deserve it. And so in this space, I've been all about educating again, following your lead, unapologetically saying what needs to be said on stage and off stage.
How's that
And
radio stay? How's the radio thing going in California? Them folks are
it's
really
it's
nice.
it's going interesting. It's going good, really. It's really going
I
good.
I like. I think that's gonna blow. I think if you're staying connected, what's the brother name that got in trouble? He's actually my friend, Tavis Smiley, right?
Yeah, tap smiling. Yeah.
I think there's something he's gonna do a resurgence, and there was a sister who interviewed me one time. She was pretty smart. She wasn't necessarily super blockchain open, but she was so smart. I just knew that once
So
she talked
Dominique
to the right,
DePrima. Was
yes,
it Dominique DePrima?
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, she comes on. Well, she's on right before him. So obviously, on one day a week, she's right before me. And last week, she came right out and said, "We've been talking bad about Bitcoin before you got on. So I'm just gonna let you know before you get on to start talking about Bitcoin." So, yeah, she told me she is a naysayer.
Yeah, let me say that the power of that space and you're heavy, she's heavy. We can find community that's so much more powerful. And again, as an activist, some of this stuff, like if she was coming in with the thing about it's taking all the electricity, I said, sister, that's like somebody telling you the internet taking all the energy, but sending a mail with dead trees and licking stamps is somehow better for the environment. It's not. It's not. It's not. But my point is, you have a better delivery. One, your spirit, like my spirit, has a restlessness that can be problematic, that can overwhelm my point. You have a steadiness, you know, what they call over something waters when something's over like something water trouble water, like your
A
thing is
bridge over
steady.
troubled waters, huh? A
Yeah,
bridge.
your junk like that, and I just see in L.A. with Travis Smiley, he ain't done yet. He coming with something, and I don't know if they got anybody else talking tech besides you, but if they got you doing tech and that sister doing something else, I just think that thing gonna be something. I don't know. I just got the sense of that. And this is another thing I wanted to say with the wallet, and I'm gonna say this in a way I think that I'm trying to say because I want to say it plain. I don't think we have to tell people as black folks in tech that the work we're doing is gonna solve everything in the world. I
Right.
think we give ourselves too much of a burden and there's enough people who are going to contribute. When
Yeah.
we talk about wealth gaps and things like that, when we talked about our horrible wallet that is in no way like your wallet, and the reason I'm saying that, I don't want people going to our wallet. I want them to go to your wallet. I'm saying I'm clear on it. It's not funny style. I'm just saying it's a better wallet. It's a better product. So I'm just want to be clear. But I'm saying something more than that. Is that I think telling people that we are putting together a wallet and we have partners and other folks, but this particular project is led by us. And that is significant. Am I going to take all away your arthritis? Am I going to take away all your rheumatism? Am I going to bring uh, 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 Martin Luther King back to life? No, he's
No.
dead forever. I'm not. There's nothing I'm doing today that's bringing him back to life. But the things that we're doing, we hopefully will inspire you, inform you, and empower you to do better than if you were using the Coinbase wallet. I don't
Yes.
think you have to say you're about to do away with 500 years. of torment. And I just, again, when I say that is, don't, and y'all grown, so I ain't telling grown folks that. Don't let nobody put you in a space where you're defending something, even though we want it. We want to change the whole world, but this is the reality. And if you can't respect and appreciate this contribution to our struggle, just say you just don't like me. But to talk about it in this way is not necessarily the correct way to approach it. I'm only just saying that out loud.
Well, I appreciate that. And I know the listeners appreciate that too. And again, you have been nothing since I met you except real. So we appreciate that and really respect your opinion and definitely respect what you say, even though sometimes we hear it, don't really internalize it till we're in that situation. We definitely hear you and are thankful that you're here to really impart upon us the knowledge that we need to really make it through this space, to make it through this time, to just kind of reach forward because we have some work to do, and it can't be, we can't be the only ones doing it, and we can't save everybody. And I hear you saying that all the time. So I'm really appreciative of that. What would you tell someone right now who is listening, um, that wants to get involved in this space and also wants to get involved in maybe some of the things that you're doing with I Love Black People and all the stuff, the initiatives and different things that you're doing over in Africa as well. What would you share? How can we get involved? Let's just ask that. How can we
I
get
think,
better involved?
yeah, I think one of the things I've seen recently is conversations about black immigrants and folks from other countries. One of the things we're doing for this summer is we're going to have meetups. It's not going to be a tour, but we're going to have meetups in different cities where we'll set out, we'll break bread with each other. And the only requirement is that you have to invite somebody to the meetup who's either from another city, another country, or another tribe. So we're gonna have these meetings in Kigali, Rwanda, Kenya, Nairobi, Zimbabwe, Harare, Johannesburg, South Africa, and we're gonna
Wow.
have them throughout the United States, of course, Washington D.C. Love to have some in California, as well as Chicago, and literally have black folks from all over the world come together to talk about our common struggle and how we can work together, but do it in a way that's not, crisis oriented. We're all going to go to a black owned restaurant, black friendly space, break bread. We'll set it out. We don't have no problem. I love black people. Put it on our dime. But the requirement is that we bring somebody that we're already friends of, that come from a different community than we are a part of. So we can demonstrate the unity that we already do every day just with our relationships, and share those relationships with other people and their friends from other communities. And we're going to be doing that probably starting late June to August. And then, of course, we have the Black Blockchain Summit again. It'll be our fifth year. So we're going to try to make that big. I think we're going to kind of like set it apart a little bit than the past ones by focusing on also, and this is something probably key for those who are trying to get into space, we're going to focus on like freelance as well as tech folks in the space who are looking for opportunities. So we got brothers and sisters, of course, throughout the United States as well as throughout Europe and Africa who are developers and would love to get put on with opportunities. And we want to connect them with innovators from the United States that are doing projects. And so we will look at having at least a part of what we're doing for Black Blockchain Summit, literally connecting those dots. Uh, what else? Like I said, we got the radio show. We got the app that's going to be coming out. We got this partnership that we're going to announce soon. Uh, what else? I mean, it's a lot of things that people can do. We're going to be going back and forth to Cuba, talking about what they're doing and investigating what they're doing in healthcare. Um, but I think the biggest thing I would tell people to do, find a problem that's in our community, and we're not the only ones facing this problem. Much of the world looks like us. We represent 1.5 billion people on the planet. Europeans represent about 600 to 800 million. So we're about, as black folks, and people of African descent, even if they don't know they're from Africa, are, about the size of China. That's a lot of
Mhm,
people. And so
mhm.
never look at yourself and what you're going through in isolation. There's folks in, like, we met black folks in Peru, and some of those communities, they eat gatos, they eat cat. But literally, there's black folks all over the world. Now, you ask them if they were African, they've been looking at you now from Peru, but they blacker than, like, look, they black like us, nappy, all that. So again, we come from a huge community of people. I say also, don't get too stressed out. I've gotten stressed out. Really find joy in what you're doing. And if you're not finding joy, change it.
Mm.
God is, and our ancestors are going to intercede on our behalf. But please enjoy what you're doing. Like, literally, uh, I just spent a hectic 2 weeks, but I spent it with my wife, who is such a joy. Like, and if you're not married, I just say, shame on you. You're missing out. Like, marriage has been super awesome. It's given me an extra gear. I'm my wife's biggest fan. I'm her number one cheerleader. Go Carol, go Carol. Like, that built-in emotional support. And we disagree, but I just gonna sound ignorant. They say happy wife, happy life. Like, I'm willing to argue with the whole world, but when it comes to my wife, her being right makes me feel better. Like, me being right doesn't make me feel better. It actually could cause even more problems. But when my wife, has her way, I love it. Like, I feel good as a human being that there's another human being that thinks about me all day, and is that important. So I would say,
That's
when
awesome.
you're doing this hard work and you want to do a startup, have a good, support group. Have a good basis and
Definitely.
value, just as much as they tell you about cultivating, networks. Cultivate a good support group of people, even if they're not into the particular technology you're into. Make sure they're into you. Make sure they're into your mental health, your spiritual health, your emotional health, and I think it'll. But if things work out or not, I still remember the day I found out that they were going to review our license. I was actually dropping my wife off at the airport, and we were driving to the airport, and I got the bad news. And I told you I get a little upset about stuff, and I told my wife what the phone call was about. And again, my wife is not in detection. That's not her thing. She's a photographer, but literally, she just looked at me and said, "It's going to be okay." Now, my wife did not change any of the material facts of anything that had just happened. But when she connected to me spiritually and emotionally that way, she said it's going to be okay. She inspired me to, instead of getting to a pity party, she inspired me to start making solutions, start coming up with checking off, okay, what we're going to do next with her affirmation.
Right.
So I just think, being in a space with people, and for me it's my wife. If everybody doesn't have the same, everybody has different relate, but have people that can give you those affirmations to help you focus on the skills you do have, but sometimes get distracted by real life.
Yes, sir. Definitely, definitely. And your wife is absolutely blessed to have you, and you are blessed to have her, I know. And
Woo!
I was just talking to my husband on this trip, telling him how incredibly important he is to my success. Because if I did not have him behind me doing this, I know with God all things are possible. But I really feel like he brings the right people into our life to help us move in business, to help us think straight. I can think critically because I know he's handling what he needs to handle. And so, it's just a good space to be in, a reassurance to have
Yeah,
a,
yeah, yeah. Your
a
husband was
strong
great. No, I,
support.
I
Oh
remember
yes.
seeing him on the road. I was like, go ahead, bro. Like, y'all, like, it
Yeah.
inspired me. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he is definitely awesome. And literally we had this conversation yesterday and today because a lot of times when you have a supportive spouse, they don't see their real significance, but we could not do this without them and the support that they bring. So to my husband and to your wife, we just
Yeah,
thank you. It's just a
Amen. Hallelujah.
yes. Yes. So, Brother Sinclair, are you taking volunteers for I Love Black People or for the Black Blockchain Conference? How do people get
That's
in contact with you to
awesome.
volunteer?
Thank you. Info at iloveblackpeople.com. Come join our classes. We actually have a WhatsApp group for each of the new classes when they start, where you can get a certificate for participating, a Black history, I mean, for Pan African history. Uh, Definitely, we need hosts for the upcoming meetups in the different cities. Info at iloveblackpeople.com is a great way to contact us. Our office phone number is 202 558 5143. 202 558 5143. I don't have our Zimbabwe office number memorized like that. What else? And we definitely are looking for as many people who are willing to share their Black friendly spaces. And when I say that, it could be a Mongolian doctor in Copenhagen. Like, it's enough. It's good to tell people to boycott, don't go there. But if you're sick, telling me where not to go is probably great. But I'm sick. I still need to know where to go. So our focus is on the positive, and that's another thing. I don't focus on no hate. If I meet somebody who's white and they're a nice person, I treat them like a nice person. That doesn't mean my focus is not on protecting Black folks. That means that my humanity that God gives us is big enough for everybody. But I'm clear that our focus is Black. We don't say people of color, a BIPOC. It's 1.5 billion people. That's a lot of folks. So if somebody wants me to address the issues of the Asian community, I think there's probably better people, more equipped to handle those issues. I'm focused like a laser on the 1.5 billion people who've gone through some serious trauma over the last 500 years and need some real serious focused attention. If some people can save the whales without saving elephants, there's nothing wrong with saving the whales. There's nothing wrong. If you want to focus on the rainforest in Amazon, that don't mean that there's not a dirty river someplace, but that's your thing. So God bless you.
Well, you know what? I'm just going to say you dropped the mic at that point. And so I appreciate you for your time. We wound up going just about an hour anyway. But this was absolutely incredible. And I appreciate you, Mr. Sinclair Skinner. May the Most High be with you and your wife as you travel. And we will be talking with you soon. Is there anything else you want to share before we conclude tonight?
No, this congratulations to you and Brother Hill Harper on the work you're doing. Again, business is tough. I know that, and you're doing so much to educate. So again, Najah, thank you for all you do, and really, 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 really appreciate you.
I appreciate you too, and thank you. And I will be talking with you soon. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, Mr. Sinclair Skinner. If you need to reach out, well, we want you to reach out because we want you to volunteer. You can catch him at info at I Love Black People. So.com. And again, that's info at I Love Black People.com. And he has a bunch of different things going on. We want to be supportive of his meetups around the world. So this is incredible. And I definitely want to be a part. Would love for you to be a part. So reach out and let him know that you want to volunteer. With that, I say thank you to you and have a incredible rest of your evening to each and every one of you. Peace and blessings, family.
All right. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Najah Roberts, host of Ahead of the Crypto Curve. I'm inviting you to join us every Friday this month from 9 a.m. to 12 noon, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580. Our community cannot afford to miss out on this financial revolution. It's time for us to position ourselves to take advantage of what may be the last chance we have to close the wealth gap in America. Don't miss a single episode of Ahead of the Crypto Curve with me, Najah Roberts, every Friday this month, 9 a.m. to 12 noon, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Get money, dollar bills,